Good morning, everybody. There's a lot going on out there, so let's get to it. Welcome back from the long Thanksgiving weekend, and maybe we should do something cheerful, like talk about war and money. And you know that I've done this before, but they do go together, and it's going to matter to you and your portfolios. So I thought, how best to illustrate this? I'm going to say this. The Russians understand the connection between war and money, and let me show it to you on a map, not just our map out here, but this one. So this is a map of Ukraine. This first arrow that I've got pointed here with a little circle around the Donetsk region, that part of Ukraine is called the Donbas. It's the industrial part. Think of it as kind of if it were America, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Detroit, that area. That whole area now, as of last week, 2 weeks ago, it's just mop up now. The Russians have taken the whole area. So what does this mean for the Ukraine government? Well, the money that used to come from all that industry, that's now gone away. Step one. Step two, you see the river up here? It starts in Kiev, and then it kind of works its way down in that lazy backward letter C until it finally dumps out here into the Black Sea. That river is called the Dnipro, or sometimes they call it the Dnieper. That's their Mississippi. So what have the Russians done? You don't have to control the entire river, but what they've done is really toward the south here, they are now controlling parts of this river where the Ukrainians can't move trade down their Mississippi. Well, that's a problem. Imagine if that happened here in the United States, where all of a sudden we can't do that trade all the way from Chicago down to New Orleans. How much money is lost when your one major arterial for water trade has now gone poof? Now that money doesn't flow to your government. That leads us to number three, Odessa. So Odessa is the only deep water port that the Ukrainians have. We have several. Deepwater port in Boston, New York, Miami, Houston, LA, San Francisco, Seattle. We've got a lot. They have one. I can pretty much predict how the campaign is going to go in 2026. The Russians, now that they've taken the industrial region, are going to push west, and they're going to take more and more of that river. Once they have enough of it, they're going to head down and lay siege to Odessa by land and by sea and by air. And they're going to cut off all the money sources to the Ukrainian government. Because if you don't have your deep water port, no money from there. If you don't control your arterial trade, no money there. You don't control your industrial region, no money there. And as Walt said last week or the week before, without money for a government, things don't go very well. Then what will the Russians do? They will turn north toward Kiev, and they will head toward the capital. And that will be the final battle of 2026. The Russians will likely force the evacuation of Kiev. So why bring this up, and what does this have to do with us? Who cares about a war on the other side of the world in Ukraine? Most Americans can't even find it on the map. Here's what the world is going to say if this plays out the way I think. They're going to say, by itself, the Russians defeated the combined forces of the United States and NATO. What will that do to the dollar? Money, capital, these are attracted to strength. They're attracted to dominance or safety. That's where capital moves to. Wait a minute. What if, like with the petrodollar, as Walt was talking about again a week or so ago, what if we're not the dominant military power? Why are we using their currency? So what does that mean for us? I know it sounds kind of dour, but this is the path we're on. And I think President Trump sees it now, that this was an ill-advised war, really started back during the Biden administration, and we need an off-ramp. Thus, these 28-point plans we need out of this thing before this plays out. So what it means to you, if this happens the way I think, what you're going to see is the dollar going down, and you're going to see your investments going up, because as the dollar devalues, you can't devalue wheat, corn, soybeans, gold, silver, energy, this type of thing. And so our job is to make you money. We are not advocates for one party or another party or one point of view. Advocacy doesn't really work all that well in the investment world. Analysis does. And we need to get away, we're actually in the country, a little preachy here, but from advocacy and get closer to analysis. So in the analytics of this is what I believe is going to play out. I think I could give you a pretty strong case for it militarily, and then what it will do financially, just based on history, your positions, how you are positioned now in your portfolios should do very well in this scenario. Unfortunately, it's going to be under these circumstances. So with that, I'll turn it over to Walt.